Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Christy, and I was going to do one video that had all the pros and cons of living this RV life and decided that it would be way too long and you guys might not want to stick around for all of it. So I decided to break it into two sections. The first section, which you're about to see, is going to be the cons or the challenges of the RV life. Listen guys, it's not for everyone. It is definitely not. And one of the things that I hear all the time that drives me insane are people that say, well, it must be nice. Um, there are challenges 100% that come with living this lifestyle. So stay tuned. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about those, but also make sure to watch part 2 of this video, which is the benefits or the pros of living this lifestyle. People sometimes say that I only point out the positive in this life, and truly I am an optimist by nature, but it may not be for you. So I'm going to start with the cons of living in an RV full time, the challenges. Number one is now that more people are choosing this lifestyle, the availability is less, especially on sunny, warm, beautiful days. In the summertime, it's harder to get into parks than it once was. And you do have to kind of book farther out to get those things, unless you're super flexible like I am, and I can on a whim decide where I'm going, and often there's cancellations, but you don't know about those until the morning of sometimes. So it is difficult if you want to plan ahead to go from stop to stop to stop to get reservations because they're already booked. And people will book them in advance and decide, oh, I don't really want to do that, and they won't cancel to the last minute. The number two challenge that I find is dumping tanks. It can be a pain to have to constantly dump the tanks. And I'm not just talking about the sewer tanks, I'm also talking about the gray tanks. So the gray tanks make up your shower, your sinks, stuff like that. So if it's 9:30 at night and you decide you want to grab a shower, and the bigger RVs have the little monitors that tell you how much you have in your tanks, and you want to take a shower and you realize, oh no, I don't have the space to take a shower. You have to go outside and you have to empty your tanks before that you can take that shower. That's not something you do in a sticks and bricks home. It's the same way with your black tank. Your black tank is going to be your toilet. You don't want to get somewhere and have a full black tank because then you cannot use your facilities. I know not everybody uses their facilities. I bought mine with a full intention to use the camper for its intended purpose, for every part of it. So I shower in here, I do everything in here. So it is not fun to have to deal with that. And especially if you've never done it, you've never grown up doing it, dealing with the sewer part or the black tank part of stuff took a little bit of getting used to for me. Honestly, I'm all gloved up and it's not something that I enjoy. But with that said, it is a necessary evil. So it is one of the cons. Number 3, if something happens to your RV and you have a major component need work that a mobile tech can't do, then guess what? Your house is in the shop. So you have to have contingency plans, probably contingency plans B and C both, for where you'll go if your shop is in the house. Your house is in the shop for very long. So living in it full time, most of everything that you own is with you. So if you have to put your home in the shop, it's something to consider that it is definitely a workaround and you need a plan B. Number 4, and this sometimes can be the bane of my existence because I am constantly traveling. The constant setup and breakdown procedure can be monotonous at times. My least favorite thing just happened at the park I stayed at recently, and there were no cancellations. I had to leave. It was a Friday morning. I had to leave, and there was someone coming in behind me, and a terrible storm happened. And I had to break down in the storming rain. I'm talking torrential downpour. I don't know what the wind speed was, but it felt like it was 70. I'm sure it wasn't. But I was cold, I was freezing, everything was a mess, and I didn't have a choice. I had to do it, and on a normal day, it's not always fun getting everything set up and broken down, but there are days like that that happen that's just a pain. You really want to do over for those particular days. So the number 5 reason is going to be your mail, your driver's license, your insurance, registration, all of those kinds of things. When I first started RVing, I got a UPS box, and I can get mail and packages and all that stuff there. And when I renewed my license online, I could use that. It was no problem. But when I actually went in, when I had to go back in to renew, my license was flagged. And they said, no, you can't use a UPS address. You have to give a physical address. So I had to use my daughter's address. A lot of places require a physical address. Certain banks require that as part of the Homeland Security. So some of those things are a problem unless you have somebody that you can just use their address. There are places, and Escapees is one of them, I think, that provide you with a physical address to combat some of those challenges. But if you're just getting started, you're just trying it, maybe you just have a mail forwarding service or a person that you can send stuff to their home, use their address. Number 6, internet. Particularly if you stay at state parks and COEs and you're going to boondock, which is dry camping, dispersed camping, the internet can be sketchy at best. I have stayed at state parks where I got fantastic internet. I have stayed at a couple of COE parks now that actually have Wi-Fi. It's not great, but they have it. And there are private RV parks that have, internet that you can use while you're there. But if you need internet on the road with you, it can be costly. There are a couple of options that I've heard people talk about where the monthly service is $100 or so a month, but to purchase the equipment is anywhere from $500 to $1,000. So you have a significant outlay of money just to get it started. So again, if you are just starting out, you want to try this life, I don't recommend jumping right in and paying all that kind of money for internet. Sometimes it's a necessary evil to have it. I don't currently have an internet service plan other than my cell phone and hotspot. So when that doesn't work, I have been known to sit in Walmart parking lots to upload my videos or McDonald's or Starbucks. You have all these places that have the free Wi-Fi. So if it's not something that you have to have constantly, you're okay. But if you are an internet person and you have to have your internet, this is not for you, or you have to find an expensive alternative. And number 7 is stigma. Not everybody understands or will understand or embrace this lifestyle. Lots of people say, yeah, but where's your home? I don't have one. And they honestly, they honestly look at you like, why? And they put you in a couple categories. Either you're destitute and that was your only option, or I've been called a hobo and a gypsy. I don't mind those things, but I'm just saying. And sometimes in employment or things like that, they want to feel that you are more permanent than having a house on wheels. Number 8 is pretty simple, and you do have to have it in a sticks and bricks home too. But when you are mobile, you are sort of at the mercy of different sources of power. So if you go to a state park or a COE park or whatever, and the power pedal still doesn't work, you have to wait for somebody to come do that, or you have to disconnect if you've already hooked up and go to a different one. I've had a surge protector that went bad. And then you also, if you boondock or dry camp, then you need an alternative source of power. So you need solar panels, or you need a generator, just something that will keep things going for you. If you have propane and your refrigerator's a 3-way, you can use that, but you still need some type of power for, your lights or your fans or whatever it is. So always worrying about being hooked up to some type of power source may be a deal breaker for some people. So number 10 is going to be storms and your safety. I've actually ridden out a few storms where I felt the wind was going to tip my little Gidget over. Of course it didn't, but you've seen news stories or read articles where that's happened before. And so if you're staying at a private park, often they have a place that you can go to, and maybe even some of the state parks or the COEs, they have a building that you can take shelter. And again, to go back to my point, when you're talking about weather, when you're disconnecting or connecting, watching the weather can play a crucial role in some of the decisions that you make. So you do have to do that. Also with weather, if you live in a tiny space or a smaller space, and there is inclement weather. You are indoors. So if you are the type of person who is claustrophobic and you want to do this RV life because you're going to be outside, there are going to be days, and many days probably, where you're going to be inside. It's too rainy, it's too cold, there's snow, whatever that is that keeps you sort of inside. You got to have something to do. And I mean, some people may sleep, but you got to read books or put puzzles together or do whatever it is that you want to keep your mind busy. But for some people, staying in a small space like that can make them a little bit stir crazy. So if that is you, I don't recommend this life. And the next one is going to be laundry. A lot of the bigger RVs, they will come with, or you can have installed, a washer and dryer. Some of them have the dual unit, which is a washer and dryer in the same unit. And I have not found one yet that I didn't think was terrible as far as wrinkling the clothes. And you also cannot start a second load until the first load is completely washed and dry. I don't have the space, of course, in my little Gidget for any type of laundry connections or units. So I have to take my clothes to the laundromat. And it's not always convenient to do so. Now, is it great that I can do 6 loads of laundry and be in and out in just over an hour? You bet. But is it a pain to always carry around, the change needed? So also, a lot of the laundromats have not upgraded to, using a card. So you're still having to get cash and then get the change and get all the quarters. And so it can be a pain. And again, rainy weather, anything like that, you're still toting your laundry in and out. So that is something that I know drives a lot of people crazy. Some of the private RV parks will have laundry facilities there. You still have to, you still have to pay for them, but it's a little more convenient. But when you're staying at state parks and boondocking and all that stuff, you got to find the good old laundromat to get those clothes washed. So those are a few of my negatives to this RV life. If you're somebody that has experienced other things, please put them in the comments below so that anybody watching has a full picture of what they could expect as far as the negatives. Now, with all that said, I have more negatives on my list than I do positives, but would I do it all again? 100 times over. So one thing I would highly recommend if you are even considering doing the RV life is, if you can, rent an RV that is similar to one that you're interested in and take it somewhere. Spend some time in it, maybe in different scenarios or locations if you can, to get used to the feel of it, to find out if you're a little more claustrophobic than you thought you were, to find out if you know what, I can do this. This life is not for everyone. And it's just myself and my dog, but I just think some personalities are a little more difficult to be around in small environments for long periods of time. So it could be a good test of your relationship if you want to try that. I know that it is a little more difficult for people who are doing this with a significant other or a friend or a family. I may have that a little bit easier than you guys do, but it is an adjustment, and you can make it if you want to. One of the things that I like the most is when I'm in a beautiful park, I open the door and my front yard is the lake or the ocean. And I'm not thinking about, well, I got to hurry up and get back to home because the yard needs to be mowed or the things that need to be tended to. I can be completely present in the location where I am at the time and just enjoy what's around me without having the added responsibilities of rushing back to a place that is called home. Thanks for watching. I hope that you found the video informative. Make sure to go over and watch the pros or benefits video also, which is the part 2 to this one. Remember to enjoy those little things, and we'll see you next time.